Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me carefully. When a man hurts a good woman, he doesn't just break her heart, he disrupts the balance of favor in his life. You see, a woman isn't just a companion, she's a gift, a multiplier, an incubator of vision. And when she is good, she carries a spirit of loyalty, peace, and prophetic insight into your future. A good woman is not weak, she is strategically strong. She is a helpmeet, not a helpmate. One designed to meet the need you didn't even know you had. When a man wounds her, disregards her value, or takes her presence for granted, he's not just causing emotional damage, he's tampering with the favor of God upon his own destiny. Because heaven operates on law, and when you mishandle what God calls good, you forfeit access to what was meant to prosper you. There's a reason the Bible says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord." The good woman is tied to your acceleration, your stability, your spiritual sharpness. She doesn't just walk with you. She intercedes for you. She sees when you're blind. She believes when you doubt. And she covers you when the world uncovers you. But what happens? What happens when that woman is hurt? It's not always loud. Sometimes her silence is louder than her cry. She may not fight back with words, but her withdrawal is prophetic. Her pain becomes a signal in the realm of the spirit, and what was once flowing in your life suddenly begins to dry up. The well of wisdom becomes shallow. The grace to build becomes burdensome. The peace in your environment begins to fragment. Not because she cursed you, but because the vessel through which favor flowed has been wounded. When a man hurts a good woman, he does more than cause emotional pain. He interrupts something divine. Favor is not random. It is attached to alignment, and many men don't realize that their breakthrough, their peace, and even their increase are often connected to how they treat the woman assigned to walk beside them. Let's be clear. Favor isn't just about luck or blessings falling out of the sky. Favor is God's hand partnering with your steps, opening doors you couldn't push open and closing traps that were set for your downfall. Now, imagine if the very channel through which that favor was meant to flow becomes damaged because of your own negligence, pride, or carelessness. That's what happens when you hurt a good woman. A good woman is more than beautiful. She's discerning. She carries a spiritual sensitivity that can see through your mask and still choose to love you. She covers your flaws in prayer. She supports your dreams when even you have lost sight of them. She stands in the gap when you're too weak to fight. And she becomes balance to your chaos. She becomes the echo of God's whisper when you can't hear him clearly. That's not ordinary. That's not replaceable. So when a man wounds a woman like that, he's not just breaking a bond, he's breaking a covenant. He's closing the very window through which grace was being poured into his life. Have you ever noticed how certain things in your life started falling apart right around the time you stopped treating her right? How your business slowed, your mind got cloudy, your peace became disrupted. And you couldn't explain why. That's not just life happening. That's favor being withheld. It's like rain. You don't realize how much you need it until the drought comes. When a good woman is respected and honored, she brings a refreshing presence into a man's life. Just like rain brings life to dry ground. But when she's mistreated, that rain stops. And suddenly the ground that was once fertile becomes hard and nothing seems to grow. A man can hustle all he wants, build all he wants, chase all he wants, but if he's violated the principles that sustain favor, he'll always end up empty. That's why some men have money, but no peace. Success, but no joy. Status, but no sense of purpose. Because they traded long-term favor for short-term control. Ask yourself, what's the real cost of your pride? Is it worth the silent nights where her heart slowly turns cold? Is it worth waking up next to someone who's present in body but absent in spirit? You can't hurt what God calls precious and expect heaven to remain silent. Even in the marketplace, when a company mishandles a valuable asset, there are consequences. Profits drop, stocks fall, and sometimes the entire brand suffers. In the same way, when you mishandle a good woman, your personal stock drops. In the eyes of God, in the rhythm of your purpose, and even in the legacy, you may still function, but you won't flourish. And if you think you can simply replace her, remember, favor isn't in the vessel, it's in the divine appointment of the vessel. You can find another woman, but you might not find the same covering, the same grace, the same push that was custom made for your calling. There are some losses you can't afford, not because they're loud, but because they're spiritual. Be wise. Don't sacrifice your favor on the altar of foolishness. A good woman doesn't just love you, she multiplies you. She takes what you give her and expands it. That's how she's designed. She was created with the capacity to carry, to incubate, to transform potential into reality. You give her a house, she makes it a home. You give her a seed, she gives you a child. You give her a vision, she'll help you build a legacy. That's not just emotional support, it's divine structure. A multiplier isn't just someone who stands beside you, it's someone who adds value, depth, and dimension to your life. This is why hurting a good woman carries more than emotional weight. It carries consequences tied to multiplication. You see, when you mistreat a woman who was built to expand you, you don't just lose her love, you lose the increase that came with her. Think about a farmer. He plants a seed in fertile soil expecting a harvest. But if he abuses the soil, if he neglects it, poisons it, or treats it like it's worthless, the soil doesn't rebel. It simply stops producing. Not because it can't, but because it won't in that condition. That's how a good woman functions. Her design is to multiply, but only when she's nurtured, valued, and safe. Men often underestimate the power of a woman who believes in them. A good woman can see in you what you haven't yet seen in yourself. She speaks to your future, not just your flaws. She challenges you without emasculating you. She's both mirror and magnifier, reflecting the truth and enlarging your potential. But when you break that trust, when you damage that connection, you also break the bridge to your own growth. Let's be real. Many men want the benefits of a multiplier without the discipline of stewardship. They want a queen, but treat her like a commoner. They desire a legacy, but don't understand that legacies aren't built alone. A kingdom without a wise queen is an empty castle. It's a structure with no soul. Have you ever stopped to consider how your decisions are affecting the soil of your relationship? Is she growing or is she shrinking? Is she blooming in your presence or is she withering under the pressure of being unappreciated? You can measure the strength of a man not just by what he builds, but by what he nurtures. What is she becoming because of you? A good woman will always stretch you. She'll call out laziness. She'll confront inconsistency, not because she wants control, but because she sees more in you. But when she gets hurt, when she starts to feel like her strength is being used against her, she won't multiply your potential. She'll start preserving her own. She'll begin retreating, emotionally packing away the parts of her that once were open to you. And here's what's dangerous. Sometimes she stays physically while leaving emotionally. She continues to function, but the overflow is gone. You still get her presence, but not her power. Her words become fewer, her prayers quieter, her vision smaller, not because she's lost it, but because you mishandled the soil where her spirit once bloomed. This is why honoring a good woman isn't just about romance. It's about wisdom. It's about understanding the principles of increase. You don't need more hustle, more connections, or more plans. Sometimes, all you need is to treat right what God already gave you. Because when a good woman is whole, you become unstoppable. When she feels safe, you move with clarity. When she's supported, she becomes a fountain of strength that refreshes every part of your life. So ask yourself, are you multiplying her or are you minimizing her? Are you speaking life into her or draining it out of her? Because how you treat the multiplier determines what gets multiplied in your life. There are certain laws in life you can't ignore. One of them is the principle of cause and effect. When a man mishandles a good woman, he's not just making a relational mistake, he's triggering a spiritual response. You can't violate a divine principle and expect peace to remain. You can't sow disrespect and expect to reap stability. When you mishandle what God calls valuable, you invite a decline that's not just emotional, it's spiritual and systemic. Many men don't understand this because they operate from a surface level. They think hurting a woman is just about arguments or tension in the house or distance in the bedroom. But what they fail to realize is that pain inflicted on a good woman goes deeper than the visible. It touches the fabric of the man's own destiny. It alters the climate of his life. Imagine a man walking through a vineyard that he was entrusted to care for. The vines are healthy, the fruit is sweet, the ground is fertile. But out of frustration, impatience, or pride, he begins to trample the soil, rip the vines, and neglect the watering. The grapes may not shrivel overnight. In fact, everything may still look normal for a season. But underneath the surface, the damage is already in motion. The roots are disturbed, the future harvest is compromised. That's what happens when you mishandle a good woman. Things may not collapse immediately. You may still have a roof over your head, a job to go to, and plans in motion. But slowly, subtly, your internal atmosphere begins to shift. Your clarity becomes confusion. Your confidence becomes fear. Your peace is replaced by frustration. Not because she changed, but because you broke something sacred, and the law of consequence is now in effect. And here's the deception. Life might still look successful. You're still making money. You're still being celebrated by people. But inside, you know you're not where you used to be. You're moving, but not progressing. You're busy, but not fulfilled. That's a spiritual decline that follows the mishandling of what was meant to bless you. You can't hurt the source of peace and expect to walk in peace. You can't disrespect the vessel of wisdom and expect to make wise decisions. And you can't devalue the carrier of favor and expect favor to continue flowing. It's not about punishment. It's about principle. God doesn't punish you for hurting her. He simply allows the natural law to take effect. What you damage, you lose. What you dishonor, you distance. And what you ignore eventually deteriorates. Have you ever looked back at a season in your life when things were working, when you were sharp, focused, driven, and realized that it coincided with the time when your relationship with her was whole? That's not coincidence, that's connection. But when a good woman is standing with you, believing in you and building beside you, she becomes a covering you don't even see. But when she's wounded, she withdraws, her spirit closes, her presence becomes quiet. And something in the atmosphere shifts, not out of revenge, but out of preservation. You see, a woman who's been hurt can't multiply pain. She was designed to multiply vision, not trauma. So when she's hurt deeply, she stops producing, not because she's weak, but because her internal atmosphere has been polluted, and when the atmosphere changes, everything under it begins to feel the impact. What's happening in your life that might be the result of spiritual misalignment? What doors are closing, not because of lack of effort, but because of lack of honor? Sometimes it's not the enemy attacking your purpose, it's your own actions undermining your favor. Mishandling a good woman isn't just about relational fallout. It's about the collapse of what could have been if only she had been handled with the care she deserved. Silence is not always empty. In fact, when a good woman goes quiet, it's often the loudest warning a man will ever hear. You may not hear the shouting, the crying, or the arguments, but her silence is a signal. It's a shift. It's the sound of something sacred breaking inside her. And if you're not discerning, you'll mistake her stillness for peace when it's actually a form of silent pain. A good woman doesn't always speak when she's hurt. She absorbs, she evaluates, she prays. She tries to understand you even when you're making no effort to understand her. She gives you grace when you give her excuses. But when that pain compounds and she reaches her limit, she doesn't always lash out. She withdraws. And in that withdrawal, a divine covering begins to lift. You must understand, when a woman is emotionally invested, her voice is active. She expresses. She engages, she questions, she corrects. That's not nagging, that's involvement, that's care. But when she starts to go silent, she's no longer trying to fix it. She's starting to prepare for life beyond it. That silence isn't peace, it's preparation. Think of a storm. Before the thunder and lightning, there's often a strange stillness in the air. The animals go quiet. The wind pauses, the atmosphere tightens. It's not peace, it's the build-up before everything changes. That's what happens in the heart of a good woman when she's been hurt too long. Her silence is not the end of the noise, it's the beginning of her detachment. And here's what's dangerous. Some men only pay attention when the shouting starts, but wise men learn to hear the silence. Wise men can discern the shift in her tone, the drop in her energy, the absence of those texts that used to encourage you, or the missing I love you that she never forgot before. Those aren't coincidences, they're indicators. Ask yourself, when did she stop asking how your day was? When did she stop praying over you out loud? When did her laughter become less frequent, her eyes less bright? These are signs, not of a woman who's overreacting, but of a woman who's overextending. The problem is, we often don't notice the value of a voice until it's no longer speaking. You don't realize how much her presence kept you grounded until it becomes distant. You don't see how much wisdom she poured into you until her silence leaves you making decisions on your own. It's easy to overlook her when she's consistent, but when she pulls back, suddenly you feel the difference. She was your mirror, your sounding board, your emotional compass. Her words built you, but now that her silence surrounds you, you feel unbalanced, uncertain, incomplete. Not because she left, but because the version of her that loved out loud has gone quiet. And let's be honest, many men ignore this stage because they think silence means she's moved on. But in reality, it often means she's still there, but just surviving. She's smiling in public, but numb in private. She's present in the house, but absent in heart. And if you don't respond with humility, repentance, and change, you'll lose her without ever hearing a goodbye. Silence is not the absence of love. It's often the final form of it. The last attempt to keep peace before she chooses herself. The final gift of grace before she guards her heart. Don't wait for the moment she stops caring to start listening. Because when a good woman goes silent, it's not peace, it's prophecy. It's a sign that something sacred is slipping through your fingers. When a man hurts a good woman, something shifts in the atmosphere of his life. He might not see it at first, but eventually the symptoms show. The flow of wisdom begins to dry up. The peace he once enjoyed starts to fragment. The clarity he once walked in becomes clouded. Because when you damage the vessel that was designed to protect and propel you, you also disrupt the flow of what she carried: wisdom, peace, and progress. A good woman brings more than affection. She brings a spiritual intelligence, an intuitive sense, a kind of discernment that most men don't fully understand until it's gone. She sees danger before it arrives. She feels shifts before they become storms. She gives insight, not from books, but from a place of divine perception. That kind of wisdom is not loud, but it's present. It helps you make decisions, it keeps you from pitfalls, it guards your blind side. But when that woman is hurt emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, that wisdom doesn't flow the same way. Not because she's withholding it, but because her spirit is wounded. And a wounded spirit doesn't pour, it protects. It's like a stream that once ran clear and steady. When you pollute it, the water doesn't stop instantly. But over time, it becomes murky, slower, less refreshing, less alive. That's what happens to the spirit of a woman who once gave everything freely but is now moving through pain. The life-giving stream she carried begins to slow down. And the man who once drank from her strength now feels dehydrated, confused, restless, frustrated. Have you ever wondered why certain doors stop opening? Why things that once came easily now require a struggle? Why your ideas feel heavy, your steps uncoordinated, your vision blurry? It may not be an external enemy. It could be internal disorder, the quiet chaos caused by wounding someone who was your covering in the spirit. You can't mistreat the source of your peace and expect your mind to stay sharp. You can't disrespect the voice of wisdom and expect to walk in revelation. You can't hurt the one who stood with you through storms and expect the sun to keep shining over your house. There are consequences, not because she's punishing you, but because the spiritual alignment has been broken. A man and a good woman are more than a couple. They are a partnership in purpose. And when that partnership is disrupted, so is the flow of everything connected to it. Peace becomes tension. Progress becomes resistance. Harmony becomes noise. Because the heart that once interceded for you with passion now cries in private without words. The hands that once pushed you forward now shake with doubt. The spirit that once pushed you forward now recoils to protect itself. And what makes it worse is that to everyone else, Things might still look fine. The bills are paid, the routines continue, but the oil has stopped flowing. The invisible strength that held your life together is weakening, and you're too distracted to notice. Now, this is why some men climb ladders of success only to find emptiness at the top, because they succeeded outwardly while failing inwardly. They gained status but lost substance. They acquired wealth but lost wisdom. All because they didn't realize that hurting a good woman is more than personal. It's prophetic. She's not just your partner, she's a spiritual atmosphere. And when she's honored, she carries you. But when she's hurt, she retreats. And what retreats with her is the peace, the clarity, and the forward motion you once thought would never leave. So ask yourself, what have you lost that you can't explain? What peace disappeared the moment she stopped smiling? What momentum faded when her laughter turned to silence? Because in her well-being, your world was thriving, and in her pain, your path is now shaking. So to every man listening, understand this: a good woman is not just a companion, she is a catalyst. How you treat her does not only shape your relationship, it shapes your destiny. Her love is not ordinary, it's prophetic. Her presence is not casual, it's strategic. And when you hurt her, you don't just break her heart, you risk breaking the rhythm of your own life. Don't wait until the silence becomes distance. Don't wait until her strength becomes guarded. Don't wait until what once covered you is no longer within reach. Honor her while she's still in your life. Protect what protects you. Value what multiplies you. May you have the courage to heal what's been hurt, the wisdom to nurture what's been entrusted to you, and the humility to grow into the man she saw in you all along. Good luck on your journey, and thank you for listening.